Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday. I hope you all are doing well. We are playing announcement bingo. We've gone full announcement bingo. The announcements of Conor Coady and Amadou Onana as Everton players are practically imminent. They could happen at any minute now. It seems to suggest the way in which things have gone over the last 24 hours or so that Conor Coady might actually be announced first, which is a little bit of a surprise given how obviously Amadou Onana was at the game on Saturday. Frank Lampard spoke about how it's practically a done deal, and at that point there wasn't even an agreement in place for Conor Coady from what I understood, whereas the Conor Coady deal obviously has moved quite fast over the last sort of 24, 48 hours or so. He has been pictured outside of Finch Farm this afternoon. The latest on the both of them, I suppose we can jump into. As I said, Conor Coady pictured at Finch Farm earlier today, signing Everton shirts, driving his what looks like Range Rover, which is a very nice choice of car, to be fair to him. Obviously, we know Amadou Onana was at Goodison Park watching the game on Saturday. Fabrizio Romano tweeted just under an hour ago that Conor Coady and Amadou Onana can be considered new Everton players. The Bobble also reported that Conor Coady has completed his medical at Everton's training ground, Finch Farm, and is now an Everton player pending an official announcement. This has all obviously come after a day full of sort of news and reports and updates regarding Conor Coady. Pedro Almeida, who is a Portuguese journalist, I believe, he tweeted out earlier today that Conor Coady is set to join Everton from Wolves on a one-year deal with a buy option of €15 million. The Athletic reported that Everton were on the verge of signing Wolves defender Conor Coady on loan, with Everton having an option to buy at the end of the season. That was earlier this morning, of course, so it seems like there's been a lot of movement since then. Sports Pete O'Rourke tweeted early this morning as well that Conor Coady had already done his Everton medical. It happened on Sunday. The loan deal is set to be completed later today, with Fabrizio Romano tweeting earlier that Everton are prepared to complete both Conor Coady and Amadou Onana signings this week. Documents in progress with Wolves for the centre-back who's top on Lampard's list. The talks are at the final stages for Ghana Gate 2. Everton are optimistic. So, as I said, it very, very much seems like we are announcement bingoing full. We're going full announcement bingo on Conor Coady and Amadou Onana. Adissa Ghana Gay quite evidently hasn't been agreed. You know, the deal hasn't fully been agreed yet. Different rumours going around social media about work permits and final documents and stuff like that need to be signed off. However, obviously, as I said, from Fabrizio Romano there and a lot of other reliable journalists, they seem to be convinced that the Adissa Ghana Gay deal is only a matter of time itself, and it's just a case of some final paperwork being completed. So, yeah, it seems like we're at this point in a transfer where we're sort of just sitting around on every hour, getting onto Twitter and seeing if there's been any sort of announcements. I've seen a load of tweets today saying it's going to be 12 o'clock, and then at 1 minute past 12, quote retweet saying it's going to be 1 o'clock, and then it's going to be 2 o'clock. The reality of the situation is we don't know when it's going to be. It mightn't even be today. We all thought Amadou Onana would be announced on Saturday because he was at the game. It wasn't Saturday. We thought, okay, maybe it's going to be Sunday. It wasn't Sunday, and then we haven't really heard anything today other than Fabrizio Romano saying he's an Everton player. He signed his documents. He's an Everton player. There was a report on Saturday evening that the reason as to why Amadou Onana hadn't officially been announced as an Everton player is because Everton were waiting on one final document, I believe was the termination document from Lille, and they hadn't yet received it, but that only come from one journalist, and I haven't really heard anything else regarding that since, and that isn't a document that is a case of a transfer happening or not happening. I believe it's a document that they've got to send either way, so I think it was just a case of they hadn't sent it yet, but obviously that was 48 hours ago, 2 days ago, so I'm sure Everton have been on the case to get that over so we can get that deal completed, and who knows, maybe we'll have a double announcement video. Maybe we'll have a video where both players are announced at the same time, or maybe Everton will just wait for Adissa Ghana Gay to be done as well and announce the three of them at the same time. I don't know. However, it very much seems like Conor Coady and Amadou Onana are officially Everton players. We spoke a lot about Amadou Onana last week when he was obviously first linked and when it became quite evident that he didn't want to go to West Ham and he wanted to come to Everton. We spoke about what he brings to Everton, the positives of having both him and Garner in the team at the same time. Obviously, it will allow Onana to learn from Garner, and it will allow Garner to have somebody who is a lot younger, to be able to step in when need be and take a little bit of the pressure off Garner Gay for, needing to play 30-odd games a season. And, my biggest criticism of the Idrissa Gana Gueye signing last week was, well, who do we bring in to replace Idrissa Gana Gueye when he either ultimately leaves the football club or retires? And then, 24 hours later, we're linked with a 6'5", 20-year-old centre midfielder who is exactly the type of profile that we should be, looking at. We haven't really touched an awful lot on the Conor Coady stuff because it has seemed to have just happened all of a sudden. I know we were linked with him, late last week, and obviously there was sort of rumours that he wanted to join Everton and Everton were interested in him, but this one has moved fairly quickly as well. And do you know what? I'm happy with Conor Coady coming in, at Everton. Ultimately, look, I think that the only thing people seem to have against Conor Coady at the minute is, oh, well, he's a cop-out. He grew up supporting Liverpool. He grew up in Liverpool's academy. Listen, I've seen a couple of people compare it to the Rafael Benitez situation. Very, very, very different to Rafael Benitez. Very, very different. Firstly, Rafael Benitez was absolutely shite at his job, whereas Conor Coady isn't shite at his job. And secondly, how many Everton legends were born Liverpool fans or grew up Liverpool fans? You could sit there and list them off. Kevin Sheedy, Peter Reid. There's a couple in the current squad that, apparently have supported Liverpool growing up. And vice versa as well. That works vice versa. Literally every one of their club legends supported Everton growing up. So it's not the same with footballers. Footballers will step in wherever they are and will do the job to the best of their ability. And ultimately, the thing on Conor Coady's mind won't be, oh, I support Liverpool, I can't wait to get into Everton and fuck things up. The thing on Conor Coady's mind will be, I want to get in that World Cup squad in November, so I've got to step in here where I'm going to be playing every week, because let's be honest, he will be playing every week now that obviously Ben Godfrey and Yerry Mina have both picked up injuries that are going to keep them out for a sustained period of time. He's going to be thinking, I need to make sure I'm performing every single week. Without fail, so that I'm in the manager's thoughts when it comes to November and the World Cup. I think a fly just flew into my mouth. I don't quite know. Maybe just a bit of dust. But yeah, I honestly think Conor Coady is a fantastic signing. I mean, you look at, Saturday, for example, we've just lost two centre-backs through injury. Ben Godfrey, of course, who hasn't got a necessarily a bad injury record. It was just a really unfortunate injury. But Yerry Mina, who obviously is a defender with quite a poor injury record, and we all sit here and talk about needing players that are that you can rely on, and needing players that are going to be there week in, week out, and are going to give you a 7, 8 out of 10 week in, week out. And I firmly believe Conor Coady is one of those players. We're talking about a player who I think has missed 3 games in 4 years at Wolves. He's played something like 156 out of a possible 159 Premier League games since he's been at Wolves, which is an unbelievable record. And as I said, Everton need to get rid of aiming for these players that the thing we lack most at this football club for me is consistency in every single form, whether it be on the pitch, whether it be at board level, whether it be in management, whether it be with recruitment, directors of football. We lack consistency, and that's because we've got too many players at this club, and have had too many players at this club over the last 4 or 5 years, that one week can be a 9 out of 10, but the next week can be a 2 out of 10. Michael Keane is a perfect example of that, and I'm not just labelling him out, because Mason Holgate is another example, Alex Iwobi was another example until very recently. Players that one week can be absolutely unbelievable, and you think, oh my god, this is fantastic, they're amazing, but then the next week they're drastically bad. And you can't rely on those types of players. You can't rely on a player that you've got in your starting 11 in a game that you've got to win, and you're thinking, are we going to have that version of him that turns up and he's going to be amazing, or are we going to have this version of him who turns up and we're going to have to sub him after 25 minutes because he's shite? What you need is players that and you obviously need a bit of magic in the squad to be successful, of course you do, but you need a group of players that majority of them are going to be a 7, 8 out of 10 every single week, regardless if they have a bad game, they're probably a 7. If they have a good game, they're probably an 8, 9 out of 10. And I believe players like Conor Coady, players like James Tarkowski are those types of players. Players that aren't necessarily 10 out of 10s. You're not going to sit there and go, wow, unbelievable, best defender in the world. But they're strictly consistent 7 out of 10s. Conor Coady has been the captain of Wolves for how many years? As I've just said, he's missed a couple of Premier League games since he's been there. Wolves, by the way, a team that come up from the Championship and have never struggled since coming up, never battled with relegation, always been in and around the top half of the table, fighting for European positions in certain years. I think they even finished in a European position one year. Conor Coady was a player in throughout all of that who, as I said, was a 7, 8 out of 10 every single week, reliable. Did he make some mistakes at times? Yes, of course he did. Did he have other games where he was absolutely phenomenal? Yes, of course he did, because I watched them. But he was consistent in that, consistent in his reliability to be available for the team because he's very few injury issues, and consistency in terms of his performances as well. Similar to James Tarkowski, who done very, very similar at Burnley. Very few injuries and was a consistent 7, 8 out of 10 performer week in, week out. He might have had an off day, and another day he might have had a great day, but it wasn't like one week he was a 9, the next week he was a 3. And we need more of that at the football club. It's as simple as that for me. We need more of those players that are going to be consistent. We need more of those players that are just every week you look at them and you think, you know what you're getting out of him. He's going to be reliable every single week. And for me, Conor Coady fits that bill perfectly. He's a leader as well. You know, Conor Coady was somebody that I was speaking about towards the back end of last season, of a player that Everton needed, the type of player Everton needed, a leader, somebody that commands at the back, somebody that, you know, ultimately can lead a team, can lead a squad. And now we've got him and James Tarkowski in there, who again, James Tarkowski, very, very, very similarly. So we've gone from having no leaders at the club whatsoever, practically no leaders at the club, to having 2 in the centre of defence within, you know, a matter of a couple of weeks. He also has played in a 3 or a 5 at the back, which is positive, because it seems like that's the way that Frank Lampard wants to go, with Mikalenko and Patterson as the wing backs. Having Conor Coady in there as one of the 3 centre backs, again, for me, works, because he's played and he knows how to play a 5 at the back, which is different because typically Everton centre halves don't know how to play a 5 at the back. James Tarkowski seems to know how to play it, and we already know Conor Coady knows how to play it. And ultimately, we needed to bring in a centre-half. Now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, you could have said, well, why do we need to bring in a centre-half? You've got Tarkowski, you've got Meany, you've got Godfrey, you've got Keane, you've got Aldgate. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about having to sell one, or wanting to sell one of the 2 centre-halves, because, you know, we had enough and we maybe could have made a little bit of money on Mason Aldgate or Michael Keane. Now, that's not the case. We were 60 minutes into the opening Premier League game of the season. There's 9 months to go. There's 37 games to go. There's a World Cup in between it. We were 60 minutes into the first game of the season and we lost 2 of our centre-backs, both for what I can assume will be a prolonged period of time. Ben Godfrey won't be back anytime soon because it's a leg fracture, I believe, and that will keep him out for a number of months. And the manager's already said, IMMINENT looks like it's going to be a couple of months, or it's going to be months. He said, he didn't say a couple, he said it's going to be months. So the reality is okay, 2 weeks ago we might have needed another centre-back, and I understand the frustration of, well, we need to go out and buy a striker, we need to go out and buy a forward. I get that, and I'm sure that is next on Frank Lampard's list and the club's list, because if it isn't, it absolutely should be, because we need a striker. We can't be going in to the next few games with Rondon as our only striker. But the reality is, we needed a centre-half. As soon as IMMINENT went down injured and went towards that ambulance on Saturday afternoon, we needed a centre-half, and that's why you've seen this deal accelerate quickly. I think before Saturday it was like Everton are interested in Conor Coady. Will it happen? Will it not happen? So all of a sudden, post Saturday, we're on Monday and it's done. It's accelerated rapidly because the manager and the director of football have realised we need a centre half now, because the way in which Frank Lampard wants to play, he wants to play with 5 at the back, which is fine, but we had already established prior to Saturday that Michael Keane and Mason Holgate probably aren't good enough. Well, definitely aren't good enough to do that. Whereas after Saturday, one of Michael Keane or Mason Holgate were going to have to do that job. Now, okay, I actually thought Mason done quite well when he stepped in against Chelsea. I actually thought he'd come on and he done really well. I thought he played well. But the reality is, Mason's one of those types of players who 1 week is a 9 out of 10 and the next week is a 2 out of 10. He was on the pitch for 30 seconds against Kiev and passed the ball back. If that was against Chelsea, they'd have scored from it. So I think Conor Coady's a really, really, really smart signing. I do. It's a sensible signing. He's experienced. As I said, people are asking, well, what's his motivation? Because he's not an Evertonian and he didn't grow up an Evertonian. So what's his motivation for coming here? He's a professional. And he's a professional who, from what I've heard and what I've read and what I've seen, and I don't know him personally, and obviously I've not met him personally, but from everything I've read and seen about him, he's a professional who holds himself in a high regard as a professional, a footballer who wants to be respected, and ultimately, when he comes to retire, will want to be known as a good, decent Premier League centre-half. He's not going to come in and start doing that, oh, I'm not arsed because I'm a Liverpool fan. Also, if his main motivation is an Everton football club and wanting to do well for Everton, which it will be, and it should be because he's an Everton player, if his main motivation is, I need to get in this World Cup squad, so I need to play my heart out every single week, that works for Everton, doesn't it? We're all lauding bringing back Idrissa Gana Gueye, whose motivation towards the end of his Everton career was, well, I need to play well for these next few months here, so I guarantee I get that transfer to PSG in the summer. And we're all lauding bringing him back about how brilliant he was, towards the end of his Everton career. That's because he knew if he wasn't good enough, he wasn't getting the move. So he stepped it up and he was brilliant. He was very good in his Everton career prior to that moment, but he was exceptional in that last couple of months. Now, if Conor Coady comes in and is exceptional up until November, December, goes to the World Cup, has a decent World Cup, comes back, and then is confident, so is exceptional for the rest of the season, then we might trigger that clause to bring him in. If he's exceptional till December, goes to the World Cup, and then thinks, well, I've got no motivation now because I've been, then hopefully we'll have somebody like Ben Godfrey or Yerry Mina back by then. But I don't think that'll be the case because, as I said, he's not the type of footballer, I don't think, to not be motivated by coming to a new club or want to perform because he's not the type of footballer to say, oh, I'm not that arse me because I'm only playing for Everton. This whole he grew up as a Liverpool fan or he was a Liverpool fan. He's a really good, solid Premier League, consistent, reliable centre half, and that is exactly what we need at a time when our most unreliable centre half has picked up another injury, and our number 3. Our young centre-half who was going to learn a lot from James Tarkowski this season has obviously picked up an injury, which is going to keep him out for quite a sustained period of time. So I'm happy with the deal for Conor Coady, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I think it's a clever deal. I think it's clever for a loan. A couple of people asking me what's the score with Conor Coady. Nick says, why are Wolves selling Coady? Jungle says, what's the deal with Coady wanting to leave Wolves camp? Seems a bit mad out the blue. I believe that they've changed their system. Where he says he has no purpose, they've changed to a 4 at the back. I believe they've changed their system to a 4 at the back. And I also read somewhere, don't know how true this is, this might just be a complete rumour, but I also read somewhere that he'd had a little bit of a falling out with the manager at some point over the last few months, and they just don't really get on. That might just be complete and utter nonsense, I don't know, but I read that somewhere. But the reality is it seems like he was surplus to requirements at Wolves, but that doesn't mean he's not good enough to come in and do a job at Everton. And as I said, he's got all the motivation in the world. Firstly, because he'll be thinking, well, if I do well here, I'll be able to get a contract out of it, and I'll be able to, be in a team where I can play for another few years. He's 29 years old, so a good age for the centre-back. Scored 4 goals last season in the Premier League. Obviously played in the Europa League in 2019 for Wolves as well. But again, that's another 4 goals to add to the weak goals list that we've got at the moment. But I think it seems from outside the blue that he's got that good of a connection with Wolves that because he wasn't going to play this season because the manager prefers somebody else or would rather pick somebody else, Wolves have said, well, you can go out on loan and go and get some game time with the hope of obviously him getting that place in the World Cup squad. But I think it's a really good, smart bit of business. I do. He's on loan. If he doesn't work out, he goes back there. We've got no obligation, I don't believe. I think it's an option rather than an obligation to buy. If he does do well, the obligation is 15 million for a 30-year-old centre-back, which might sound, 30 years old, why are we spending that much money on a 30-year-old? Thiago Silva is about 812 and was man of the match on Saturday against Everton. Still absolutely waltzing around football pitches, dealing with some of the best forward players in the world as if they don't even exist, and he's literally about 50 and he's wonderful. Centre-backs can play football till much older than many other positions on the pitch. Centre-backs and goalkeepers can play until much older, so he's still relatively in that prime of his career for a centre-back. And yeah, I think him partnering up with James Tarkowski, I think is smart. I do think it's smart. And then obviously there will be one of Mason Holgate and Michael Keane in there with them. But again, that might help might help Michael Keane. The fact that he's got two really, solid commanders next to him, so he doesn't have to do as much. There's not as much pressure on him. Might help Mason Holgate as well in that way. But the reality is, if you've got Connor Coady and James Tarkowski either side of you, I reckon I could probably do a job at centre half there without really needing to do much. So if either of them two can't do a job with Tarkowski and Coady either side of them, then they've got no hope of being a centre back in the Premier League. But yeah, I actually think this is a really smart bit of business, a really smart deal. I'm not fussed in any way, shape or form about the connection with Liverpool Football Club because, as I said, some of Everton's best ever players grew up supporting Liverpool and in Liverpool's academy, and some of Liverpool's best ever players grew up supporting Everton. I think the last thing on Connor Cody's mind at the moment will be Liverpool Football Club and what they're doing, and how this move affects them. I think the first thing on his mind is, great, I've got a fresh start. I'm in a club where I'm going to play every week. I'm going to be able to implement my skills. I'll probably be loved because of that. And it gives me a good opportunity to show what I've got ahead of the World Cup in November. And yeah, I think that's really, really smart. As to when he will be announced as an Everton player, I don't know. Because this is why we're here. We're playing announcement bingo. It could be in the next 10 minutes. It could be in the next hour. It could be next Thursday, for all we know, with Everton Football Club. The Onana situation as well, according to Fabrizio Romano, the Bobble, various other sources. Amadou Onana is an Everton player, as is Connor Coady. So it is, I think, just a case of when. It's not the same with Garner. I think people are getting a bit confused that the three of them have officially signed. Garner isn't quite a done deal yet, but from what a lot of journalists are saying, Connor Coady and Amadou Onana are done deals, so it's a case of waiting and seeing. And obviously when either or both are announced, we will be live talking about them, doing a typical sort of Coady signs, Onana signs video, talking a little bit more in depth about them and what they bring to Everton. But I just thought while we were here and while nothing was happening, we'll sit here and we'll do a little announcement, sort of, pre-announcement live team. So anyway, let us know. There's 223 people watching here, which is unbelievable. Could we get the likes up, by the way, because there's only 32 likes, so if we could get those likes up, that would be absolutely unbelievable. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. We did hit 7,000 subscribers earlier on today, so I just want to say a massive, massive, massive thank you to each and every one of you that has come along over the last couple of days or been here for the last 4 years for subscribing. I started this YouTube channel about in 3 weeks. It'll be 4 years since I've started this YouTube channel, and I've hit 7,000 subscribers just on the just before the anniversary, which is absolutely unbelievable. And as I said, I can't thank you all enough. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, because we are now flying towards that 10,000 subscriber mark. Maybe it might be a little bit too much to ask, but if we could hit that before the end of the season, that would be unbelievable. And yeah, if you could get the likes up, that'd be amazing as well, because there's like 230 odd people watching here and there's only 60 likes, so it literally takes a second. Just press that little thumbs up button. I want to know as well, Buzzkiller says, I've just subscribed. Nice one, my mate. Blue Cali says, congrats on 7k cam. Cheers. Thank you very much. I want to know, by the way, everybody watching the live comments, get your predictions in. Announcement bingo. What time is it going to be? Are they both going to be at the same time? If you don't think they are, then give me, Onana this time, Coady this time. What are you thinking? Is it going to be today? It's about 7,012 degrees outside, so I'm sweltering, and I have got to go to the gym at some point today. So knowing my luck, it'll be just as I've got a weight on me, about to push up, I'll get a double announcement fucking notification through. So let us know. Nick Nack says 10 subs a day since you started. Not bad. Is that what it works out as? That's quick maths. That was quick maths. That was good. That was good. Fair play to you. David says, great broadcast is right. Thank you very much, David. Sam says, blather the likes. You know that. Natty says, I remember your first video and I immediately subscribed. So do I. It was actually, interestingly enough, it was a review to our 2-2 draw against Wolves in Marco Silva's first season, which is interesting because Connor Coady obviously played in that game. 1 p.m. tomorrow, Louis reckons, is right. 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Blue Cali reckons. Who do you think will be first? Brian's going 9 a.m. tomorrow. Mark's going within the next hour. Up the top, he says going 8 o'clock. Combined announcement at 10:30, says Nick. Interesting. Don't forget to buy yourself some flowers, says Tom. I'm not into flowers, I get bad hay fever, so they make me sniff. 20 subs a day, says Nick. Oh, listen, mate, that was still quick. Where are these times coming from? I've just basically asked people to guess what time they think the announcement's going to be. It's not that anybody knows any different. It's just completely a guessing game. What we do know is that Coady was at Finch Farm earlier today, because he literally was pictured at Finch Farm earlier today. What's going on with Gay, says Log? I believe it's final details still. I don't know what those final details are, but I believe it's final details, and according to most journalists, Everton are still confident that they'll get that deal over the line. It might be visas, it might be certain documents, I don't know, but I don't think there'll be much problem with it. Inky's going for a triple announcement on Wednesday at 3. Tom's going for 7:30 tonight for both of them. Star Wars says no in Everton. The announcements will be a few years from now. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Nicholas says, yo, good signings we're going to get. Absolutely, my mate. Wormy says, hello, Blues. Cam, lad, what's happening? Toffee TV says, pepper me up, Cam. I don't know who that is. That's on the Toffee TV account, but whoever it is, sweet. Jonathan says, Onana be tomorrow at 10 a.m, Coady at 7 p.m. tonight. Interesting. Hi, come up to Toffee, says Jason. I actually do think they'll either be together or they'll be relatively close to each other. Not because I know anything that nobody else knows. I just think because they've been done in relatively similar times, I think the club will likely either do them together or will do the one and then do one a couple of hours later. I don't think it'll be within a day. And if it is within a day, it'll be like one late at night and one early in the morning, in my opinion anyway. We'll wait and see, obviously. Hi, Campbell Dazovi, says Jason. Coady medical completed, says Eugene. Yes. Signings flying in good fashion, says Queensbury is right. Louis says, not a bad signing, that is it. I agree, mate, I agree. Who's our striker going to be, though? Me at this point, to be perfectly honest, probably. No, I'm sure once the Coady deal's done, once the Onana deal's done, once the Garner-Gay deal's obviously all sorted and stuff, I'm sure we'll then hear who we're interested in regards to striker. I'm just clicking through Twitter to make sure I'm not missing anything. Don't worry. I'm watching Sky Sports News right now, says Eugene. Is right. Have they got any mention of Everton for one? Any mention of Raheem Sterling's dive the other day? Because that seems to have gone under the radar, doesn't it? Almost like it only gets brought up when it's Everton players. A lot of Blues played for the Reds and Blues. FFS says Faz. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of players, sorry. Wormy says he played every game for 4 seasons with our injuries. I get it. He played 3 at the back, which seem determined to do, even if I don't like it. That's it. And ultimately, listen, I've got no big problem with Frank Lampard going with a 5 at the back and then bringing in players to suit that formation, i.e. James Tarkowski, i.e. Conor Coady, because if it's going to work, it's only going to work with players that know how to play it. Michael Keane and Mason Holgate don't know how to play a 5 at the back, certainly when they're 2 of the 3 centre-backs, and the other one is Yerry Mina, who isn't really sort of specialised in that position. Michael Keane or Mason Holgate may be able to do a job with 2 centre-backs either side of them that know how to play 5 at the back, but they can't do it on their own. So I've not got a big problem with Frank Lampard almost saying, right, this is the formation we're going to go for, this is the way we're going to play, and I'm going to bring in players to facilitate that. Sound. If it doesn't work, then we'll all be sitting here going, we told you 5 at the back's of nonsense. If it does work, then we'll all be happy, won't we? And it seems like that's what he's doing. And to be honest, Mikalenko and Patterson as fullbacks, I think will work. So the only way to do that is with 5/3 at the back, whatever you want to call it. Happy birthday to Louis Saha, says Eugene. Yeah, exactly. Broke me heart, Louis Saha. He didn't break me heart. He scored in the game that broke me heart. But there you go. We need now to get a striker. We need to get these deals over the line first, and then I'm sure we'll move on to a striker. June says Cody's a good sign and very rarely gets injured. The Blues conceded far too many goals last season. Him and Tarkowski will tighten things up the back. Yeah, if I'm being honest, it almost seems like Frank Lampard's I think goal for this season is to just draw every game 0-0, doesn't it, really? Because we're now bringing in centre-backs that ultimately are very good at doing what they do. And, we're bringing in a centre midfield that will certainly shore the midfield up. We've still not got no goal scorer. But then again, drawing 0-0 every week gives us, 38 points? Well, 37 now because we lost last week. That should be enough to keep us up, shouldn't we? We weren't linked with a League One striker. Looked okay. Yeah, we've been linked with a couple of forwards today. Whether there's anything in them, we'll wait and see. Faz says that back 5 now looks solid with Coady stepping in. Hopefully, Mina and Keane exit soon. Well, the Yerry Mina situation is is what it is, innit? It is what it is, I suppose. If we get a bid for him, then I think we should sell him because of his situation and his contractual situation. But are we going to get a bid for him now that he's out injured? I don't think so. Cameron Wright says, Sky just said Alan Myers informs Onana announcement is today. Well, here we go. What time is it going to be? Okay, says Wolves fan here. Gutted Coady has gone. I'd have got rid of the manager before him. There you go. Just shows what type of character and the impact that Conor Coady has had on Wolves. Thank you very much for getting involved. Okay. If you are enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. If we could get to 100 likes, that'd be amazing. Nearly 300 people watching the live stream, so that would be absolutely fabulous. Kelly says Gay will be our best signing this season. Interesting. Teddy says the bobble here. News in. Conor Gallagher. You're not the bobble, mate, because I know the bobble's name, and it's not that. Top 8 finish this season for sure, says David is right. Mike says Rushy was a blue and lived 100 yards from me. Played against them. Yeah, well, listen, a lot of them were. Listen, their greatest captain player of all time was an Evertonian. One of their best centre backs of all time is an Evertonian. The best strikers ever. They're all Evertonians, mate. They're all Evertonians. But it doesn't matter because they went there and they were successful and they won trophies and now they've got plaques and statues of them. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, where are we? Let's have a little look at some other transfers then, because we have been linked with a couple of forwards over the last couple of days or so. One of them being Rennes striker Serhou Guirassy. Everton are interested in signing him, and apparently the French club will not block a move for the 26-year-old if a satisfactory offer comes in. That is from Little Whip, who are I'm not going to give them a rating of reliability, but they have gotten things right and they've gotten things wrong before. But we've been linked here and there with a couple of forwards. The Mail reported during the weekend that Everton are expected to ask Chelsea for Armando Broja on loan. I think it's quite evident that Everton are in the market for a centre forward. Who that will be, we don't know. Whether it will be Broja, whether it will be somebody from the French league or somebody else coming in, I really don't know. I don't know, but I do think Everton will have a centre forward before the transfer window finishes. Okay, says Coady is the best Wolves captain for 57 years. Absolutely legend of a fella on and off the pitch. I wish him all the very best at your place. Is right, mate. Is right. Is right. But yeah, as I said, for me, I honestly, I can't even see it. Cornelius, oh, there you go. Is he a cop-out, is he? Interesting. Lovely. No, listen, if he wants to come on his Monday night after work and sit and watch an Everton fan channel, then nice one, mate. I hope you've subscribed. Please hit that like button. And if you want to hit the little thanks, don't notification, then please do that as well. Sorry about that. I'm getting a phone call coming through me Mac, which is always great. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let's lash that on. Do not disturb. But yeah, like as I said, for me, I think Conor Coady is a wonderful signing. I really do. No, it's a good deal for Everton ultimately, and I think it works. It works for a number of reasons. It works because we need another centre back now, because we've just lost 2 at the weekend for what will be a sustained period of time. It works because we're clearly going for this 5 at the back, 3 at the back formation, which Conor Coady obviously has got a lot of experience playing. He's a leader. He's consistent. He's reliable, and very similarly to James Tarkowski, he's very much a no-nonsense centre-back, and we need more of them. I mean, James Tarkowski has been faultless since coming into the football club. He really has. As I said, for me, we need more players that you can rely on. Everton need to, be more interested in the players that are every single week a 7, 8 out of 10, rather than 1 week a 10 and the next week a 2, because you can't build a team around them. You can't build a team around those players. Liam says, was that Alan Myers on the phone there, Cam? It wasn't, mate. It wasn't Alan Myers this time round. In terms of Onana, as I said, there's not a lot to say that we haven't already said on him. I think he's a wonderful signing. I really do. I think he's exactly the profile of player Everton should be looking at, which is almost why I'm surprised that we've signed them, because usually Everton don't go for the type of players that we should be going for. What's this guy doing? You are Teddy. You are an absolute. I can't even say it because I don't even know. Listen, you're a fool, mate. You're a fool. Anyway. Yeah, as I said, he's exactly the type of player Everton should be going for. Exactly the type of player Everton should be targeting. He ultimately comes in to learn from a Ghana guy, and you know, hopefully he'll be able to do that, and he'll be able to do that well. And you know, as I said, I was my biggest critic of the Ghana guy signing last week when it was first sort of put to the table was, well, who ultimately comes in to replace him when he moves on, who comes in to replace him when he retires, who comes in to replace him when he leaves Everton Football Club. And you know, I said at that point, because people were saying, oh, it might be Lewis Warrington, it might be Tyler Onyango, I said at that point, whoever is going to replace a Ghana guy is going to have to play 15 Premier League games this season, and then whoever is going to be there to replace a Ghana guy is going to have to play 25 Premier League games the next season, because the following season they will be starting week in, week out, because I highly doubt a Ghana guy will still be starting Premier League games week in, week out when he's 36, 37 years old for Everton. And I said if it was Lewis Warrington, he'd have to be involved. Tyler Onyango would have to be involved. It seems like it's Amadou Onana, and I'm sure Amadou Onana will be involved in at least 15 Premier League games this season, which is really, really positive for Everton. He's big, he's 6'5". He's still got a lot to learn. He's only played, I think, 60 professional games in his career. So he's still got a lot to learn. He's still got a lot to obviously to achieve. And a lot of potential to achieve, but I think he's exactly the right type of player we should be looking at. And if he gets anywhere near the potential that he has, then he will either be a massive success for Everton and will be a big part of us being a success, or we'll be able to sell him for a considerable profit, which obviously either is a positive, certainly given the position that we're in. But obviously the goal would be that in 3 or 4 years' time, Amadou Onana doesn't want to leave Everton, because we're in a new stadium. We're doing, we're doing well in the league. We're fighting for trophies, titles, etc. So he doesn't want to leave Everton. But yeah, as I said, I'm really, really happy with Conor Coady. I'm really happy with that deal, and I'm really happy with Onana coming in. The Gay situation seems like it's not as far down the line. But to be fair, we're talking about as far down the line. Conor Coady, if all reports to be believed, Conor Coady is now an Everton player. Same with Amadou Onana, and we're literally just awaiting the announcements. Hence why we're playing announcement bingo here. Inky says, get the likes up. If you could hit that like button, it would be amazing. We're 2 away from 100. If you could hit that thumbs up button, it would be great. With 300 odd people watching, so that would be perfect. You know, you're talking about 2 players who have, one has been spotted at Finch Farm today signing shirts, and the other was at Goodison Park on Saturday. So, Ghana, I think, will be done. I think it's just a matter of time. I don't think it will be done before the other 2, but I don't think it's anything we should be worrying about either, to be perfectly honest with you. And that's great. Get them 3 in, get them 3 through the door, and then we focus obviously on going and bringing in a striker, because we desperately need a striker. We desperately need a striker. We cannot go. We cannot go until November, December, whenever Dominic Calvert-Lewin will return, with Rondon as our only striker, because that would just be an absolute disaster. Eugene says, Dan Plumley, Everton may have banked 5 to 7 million with brand new box sponsorship. Interesting. Carter says, great listen whilst I'm at work. Boss as always. Nice one, my mate. Inky says, Cam Guy has to do the second part of his medical tomorrow. Well, wait. I'm sure once all of it's done, we'll know. Ultimately, as I said, I don't believe it until they're at Finch Farm holding the shirts. So hopefully we'll have 2 of them outside, in Finch Farm holding the shirt over the next 24 hours. So we'll be able to talk about it. If we get the next Lukaku, we'll be top 10 surely, says Tavat. Well, we just need a prolific goal scorer, somebody that is going to step in and score goals, really, whether that's the next Lukaku or not. We just need somebody that can step in while Dom's out and fill that space. Which is why I think at Sybil announcements on Wednesday, says Inky, Rashford my arse is full. I'm not a big Rashford fan, to be honest with you, but I do think Marcus Rashford at some point in his career will play for Everton, because that's typically how it works, isn't it? But I just don't think he does enough, scores enough, achieves enough. It might be like Lingard. He might come here, and because it's a fresh start and it's new, he might hit the ground running like Lingard at West Ham, but the reality is I'm not convinced. Anthony says, we've got another striker apart from Rondon. We've got Dobbin, who needs a chance. He's on loan at Derby, mate. Emma says, when's the Chelsea match review, mate? It'll be tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to wait and see whether there's an announcement. I might do it later tonight if it becomes clearly evident that there's not going to be an announcement, but I don't want to be halfway through the Chelsea review and then Everton sign 2 players and we have to cut it short. So It will be probably tomorrow, which is still only a couple of days after, isn't it? It's still only Tuesday. When do you think Onana will happen? I don't know, mate. I don't know. This is why we're here. We are playing the bingo, aren't we? We're playing the announcement bingo anytime soon, hopefully. Rashford is better than any of our strikers. He's not as good as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And in terms of Rondon, I've got a Spider-Man lamp here that's better than Rondon. Have we banked the Moyes money? I don't think we get it till next summer, mate, because he was on a 2-year loan. Emma says, nice one is right, Emma. Gamba says, we need someone with ambition to score in all games, meaning goals, not matter what. Last game, nobody stepped up to be that outstanding forward we need. Yep, fair point. Subscribe, says Jaden, is right. Tarkowski is our best player, says Jaden. Love to all Blues and enjoy the season, says Skank, is right. Get the likes up, says Inky. Nice one, my mate. Eric says all Everton need is a striker with Onana, Garner and Coady in the midfield and Coady and Tarkowski in defence. They'll be all right. Yeah, well, listen. Liam says couple of journalists convinced that Barkley is coming back. Honestly, can't see that unless we got rid of Gomez and Alan. Well, I'm not too convinced about the Barkley stuff now. I think it's very, very, very evidently coming from Barkley's side. I think his agent, his team, his whoever is representing Ross Barkley, I think, and Ross Barkley himself, I think very clearly want to move to Everton. But I think Everton's signing of Dwight McNeil almost sort of, I suppose, killed those hopes for Ross. Because if Dwight McNeil's going to be a midfielder that'll pick the ball up and carry with it, then we don't really need Ross. But there is still a little part of me that thinks he'll be an Everton player before the end of the window. Not because I've got him in the know or to know anything. I don't know. I just think. Alex says, I seen Coady at Finch Farm and asked him if he signed. He said maybe. Well, there you go. That's all we need to know, isn't it? And Mac says, what striker would you want us to go for? I'd quite like us to go for Brozier, to be honest. I think he's big, he's physical, he's played in the Premier League before, he scored, and he's not getting in that Chelsea team. So, I'd quite like us to go for him. Whether or not it will happen, we will wait and see. But anyway, look, we are going to finish it there then, because it doesn't look like we're going to get an announcement anytime soon. We might get one at 6 o'clock, maybe. Should we wait till 6 o'clock? How many minutes? 4 minutes? Do you know what? We'll wait till 6 o'clock. And if we haven't got an announcement by then we'll end the stream. As I said, as soon as the announcements are made, whether it's a double, whether it's Onana then Coady or Coady then Onana, we'll be live with the reactions, with the videos, talking about the new signings, what they bring to Everton, how impressed I am. Basically everything we've already talked about, but we'll have to do a video, won't we? Because that's what we do. And then, as I said, match review for the Chelsea game should be tomorrow, because I'm hoping by tomorrow this will all calm down a little bit. At this point, we are in full refreshing on the hour or on the half an hour, every half an hour, to see if we've signed a player. And that's why I'm sitting here till 6 o'clock. If it's not 6, then it won't be today. It might be 7, it might be 8. You don't know, do you? You don't know. Might get a striker in January. We'll get a striker before the end of this window. We will. Barbosa, 18 caps for Brazil, scores goals every year consistently. Yeah, not a bad shout. I think the worry is the lack of, obviously, experience in the Premier League. I don't think he's played in Europe either. Barbosa, let me just have a look. But I remember watching him for Brazil a couple of months ago, and I remember thinking, oof, he's not too bad. Gabriel Barbosa, we were actually linked with him last summer, I think. No, he's not. He's played in the Serie A. Where is he currently? He is currently at Flamengo, and the Brazil national team. Is that Brazilian Serie A? That's not. Yeah, it's Brazilian Serie A. So he's not played in Europe. I was right. 6 goals in 19 games this year. Yeah, we were linked with him last year, I believe, but nothing come of it. Whether we're not linked with him now, it's just a shout, of course. Dennis is a player we have been linked with, and a player that I would be very interested in bringing him. Breton Diaz from Blackburn, says Brian. Yeah, I think he's a good player. Dab says disappointed Onana didn't come West Ham, but we don't want him now as he only chose the money. He didn't know, did he, mate? He didn't. That's just not factually correct. He chose the fact that he's going to play every week at Everton. Wonderlust says we should have looked at Minnesota when they did the thing in pre-season, not necessarily signing them per se, but having a look and seeing. Well, Emmanuel Reynosa at Minnesota is a brilliant player, absolutely brilliant player. So, I agree. His missus is a big blue, says Chris. Who? Connor Cody's missus, is she? I know, obviously, they live locally and they're from local, so that wouldn't surprise me. Where do you see us finishing this season, says Macca? I don't usually make predictions, but I think between 10th and 15th, somewhere like that. In Lampard we trust, says Alex. 18th, says Anthony. Come on, let's be positive. Coady was 1-0 in the Wolves game, and Tark speaks for himself. Liam says, thanks, Cam. Let's just keep the spirit of the Blues, everyone. Yes, is right. We are 1 minute away from 6 o'clock. Will there be an announcement? I don't know, by the way. I'm not in the know, so if you just joined and you think, oh, there's going to be an announcement, I don't know. I'm just pondering. Maybe contact Dave is on vacation. No, contact Dave is firmly in the country. He's firmly in the country. It's beyond me how Coady wasn't in Wolves' plans. Well, ultimately, sometimes players just get, things have to move on and things happen, and I think that seems to be what has happened here. Where are we? If it's not 6, it won't be today, says Alex. Well, we are 1 minute away from finding out whether it will be 6. Connor Coady will take 10 minutes to drive into training from home. And there you go. These are the important things. Kirsty says, 315 watching. Come on, hit that like button if you're a tuber. If you could hit that like button, that would be amazing. One thing Connor Coady does definitely know is the city, which is, as we all know, massively important. If he knows the city, then it's sound. It's 6 o'clock. Are we going to get an announcement from Everton Football Club? Have we signed anybody? No. Not as of yet, anyway. We've still got 40 seconds left of 6 o'clock. So, are we going to get an announcement? For some reason, my computer has just decided to be dead slow. Paddy Boylan has put an article out, but it's about Anthony Gordon, not about a new signing, which is interesting. I'm absolutely sweltering, which is also interesting. The Asda are getting vilified, apparently, on Twitter, which is nothing to do with Everton signings, but I've just read it, so I thought I'd read it out. And the Asda be in the shop, by the way. It doesn't seem like we're going to get a signing at 6 o'clock. Maybe in a second. I don't know. Potentially. Are Everton going to tweet anything? Are we going to get anything? According to France Bleu Paris, Idrissa Gana Gueye and Everton are now close to a total agreement, apparently. But that's obviously not what we're here for now. Still nothing. Hang with me. Still not on 1 minute past 6. Still not. No. Looks like we're not going to get anything at 6 o'clock. Anyway, look, whenever it is, we'll be live talking about it. So don't worry. All you've got to do is hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell next to it to put your notifications on. And you'll literally be notified as soon as we go live, which will be almost instantly when the announcement is made, unless I'm in the gym, and then it'll be as soon as I get home from the gym. But yeah, we are going to finish this one there then. Massive thank you to everybody for watching. 350 people watching live, which is just absolute madness. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we have just hit 7k, but we're going to try and get towards 10k as soon as possible. So if you could hit that subscribe button, that would mean a fantastic amount to me. But yeah, Inky says, imagine not being subscribed. Exactly. Imagine not being subscribed. Madness. If you have enjoyed this one, please hit that thumbs up button. If you watch a YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below. We'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can. That would be absolutely amazing. And yeah, we'll wait and see. When the players are announced. If they're not announced before this time tomorrow, then we'll be back with the review to the Chelsea game anyway. So there'll be content either way. Don't worry. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Subscribe if you are new. And we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.